Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and this is the Wednesday video where I answer your questions. Each week, people ask me a bunch of questions, and I'll answer those questions the following week. Got some pretty cool questions. Let's get right into it. The first question comes from Cards and Comics. Have you planned for where your collection goes in a will? I don't actually have a will yet, to tell you the truth, but I have sort of made arrangements that if anything were to happen to me, my wife knows what to do with the comics to basically get money for them. Because I'm the breadwinner for my family, so if I pass away, they're pretty much tough out of luck. So I do have insurance, but yeah, they kind of rely on me. So yeah, so they can sell off my comics, get some money for that at least. Archivist Adrift said, okay, this might take a bit more work, but can you show us 5 splash pages from books in your collection that you think would have worked as great cover art? There's one I was actually looking for. It's like fast fiction. It's a cheap book. You can pick it up for like 20 bucks. But I couldn't find it. I have it. I just don't know where I put it. So I'm looking for it and I couldn't find it. But that has some really great interior art, really great splash pages. Another one that I was thinking about, and I kind of want to show you different panels, like it's more panels, some splashes that I think would work, that would be really great, is Rula or Jojo or any of these ones from Fox Feature. And I want to show you some that I thought were really cool. Like I thought this one was really cool where you got this kind of, the only problem is that it wouldn't necessarily work for a cover, but it has some kind of, some kind of coolness to it. There was actually some Canadian publisher that would basically take these splash pages and use them as the covers when they reprinted these books. But some of them are really cool. Like I'll show you different ones. So this, it's pretty cool. Like this would be a pretty cool cover, I think. One sec. There's one more that I thought was really great in this one comic. This one, I thought this was great. Like she's like doing some kind of some kind of throw on the girl. I was gonna say Ogoshi, but not quite. So yeah, just a really cool image. I just like how it is. And I mean, the front cover is not bad, but some of those internal images are actually in some ways better. But I thought that one was really cool, the flipping one. But and some even the where you can see it with Fox, it's pink pages. You can see even this. Look at that. Isn't that great? Great art. So yeah, so Rula, Jojo, a few of them had really, really great interiors. Another series that had really great interiors, like for the splash pages, whenever they start a story in these like anthology books, they would always have like some kind of like little splash. I was actually trying to find a better example of it. Like Sky Girl, whenever like in Fiction House, like usually her splash pages were really, really great. And for some reason, every time I went through like about 5, they're all in jumbo comics. For some reason, I went through 5 different ones and all of them mediocre splash pages. But there was one where I remember it's just a really great splash page. I couldn't find it, but this is Sky Girl. Now, Sky Girl would have been drawn by Matt Baker, and I actually think that's not a bad image if you blew it up and make it a cover thing, but there's some better ones where she's kind of like clinging to a plane, or there's some really fun ones, and I just couldn't find it. So I was like, oh, I can't show it. But when I was looking for that, I did see this splash page, or like where these intro pages. I thought this one was really great with the Russian sub and them kind of swimming up under the water and the bubbles popping up and stuff. I think that would be a really great cover image. So yeah, so it's really hard to find those. Some other ones like I think modern books are actually pretty good for their splash pages. You know, they put a little bit more. They'll have like a 2-page spread or something like that. I like I like the Golden Age books. I like the style of it. So for me, you know, if you have one of those really nice intros for for the anthology story, I think they can be really cool. Um, but I couldn't find the one I was looking for. There's a really great one with Sky Girl. Matt Baker did a pretty awesome job with Sky Girl, but I couldn't find it, so I was like, can't really show it. So sorry, I did try. Actually made a huge mess in the process of trying to find the cool splash page that I wanted to show. But I recommend go to Comic Book Plus, and you can actually read Jumbo Comics on their website. It's free, and you can just read right through and see. It's from 69 all the way up into 120 or something like that is all Sky Girl in the anthology. So some of those splash pages are pretty awesome. Okay, so hope that helps. Next question. It comes from Troy Evans. Would you mind showing us your famous Funnies Frazetta run? When you bought it, the FMV at the time of purchase. So I actually just recently picked up a few of the Fisetta run. I really don't have that many. I just have 2. So not not many at all. I picked up this one, and I got it for about, I think it was like a couple $100 or something. And it's a low grade. You know, it's got a big, where is it? Big chunk right up at the corner here that's missing. But other than that, it actually presents really well. So I kind of don't mind it because of that. It presents really, really well, except for that chunk. I think it was a couple $100. I've seen these go for as much as, even in this grade, like $300-400. So yeah, so it's this is Famous Funnies 215, and then we have, as I said, I only have 2. And then we have this one, Famous Funnies 214. And this is one of the classic ones. I think this goes for around $800 in this grade. I paid $100. So I got it from Big B McFly, the comic guy. Yeah, I think I got a bit of a deal on it. I asked him how much he wanted for it, and he said 100. So I was like, okay, $100. I was fine with that. So yeah, but it is low grade. It's not. It doesn't necessarily show that it's low grade, but it's pretty. It has a pretty rough spine. A little bit of a split at the bottom, but yeah. But I think it presents reasonably well though for the grade. So yeah, so those are my 2 Fizettas. I don't, as I said, don't really have that many from the run. I think the run is like 10 issues or something like that he did within Famous Funnies. I think it's from, I want to say 212 up to like 219 or something like that, somewhere around there. But I'm not sure off the top of my head. Okay, Robbie Josephs asked, do you think Golden Age cover art is the best of all ages? Yeah. Personally, I kind of like the art style of the Golden Age compared to the modern eras. There are some really great modern books, don't get me wrong. There's some pretty cool covers. I just like the art style. It's a thing. It's, you sort of, you can sort of gravitate to certain art styles. The thing I like about the Golden Age art style is there's a certain charm to it. There's a certain classic element to it, and that's kind of what appeals to me. I like older things. I kind of gravitate to those. Yeah, I just like the art style. And the thing is, with the Golden Age, compared to some of the other ages, you have like 2 things going for the Golden Age. One is the variety. Modern is more superhero, very limited in terms of selection of what kind of subject matter is on the cover. If you go back to the Silver Age, it's even worse. like very limited. Bronze Age had some more stuff. I mean, Bronze Age at least had horror. It had like some, superhero. It had a little bit more variety. It had romance as well. But Golden Age was really, really broad in terms of the variety of covers. So that's one thing that was going for it. The other thing that I find going for it is the quality of artists, because I've mentioned this many times before, but I feel like the artists in the Golden Age were much more honed in their skills. Like they were, because they had to be more prolific. They didn't really get the recognition that they deserved maybe at the time. So they were really grind, like they were had to grind out a lot of art. And when you're grinding out a lot of art, your skills actually get better. So I think that is another element to the Golden Age. There's a certain style. The fact that the artists are, in some ways, I think the caliber of art was better in the Golden Age. And then also the fact that there's more variety. So you get a little bit of, crime or horror or romance or good girl or so many different genres. It just makes it interesting. So yeah, that's kind of my opinion on the Golden Age. I Like What I Buy wrote, do you have Crime Mysteries #5? Why is it an expensive issue? Is it because of the sexy blonde green demon girl? Yes, that's the reason. Mine's a really low grade. Actually, I was trying to find it as well. That's another book. Like, because I just recently picked up a collection, I have no space to organize. I have to reorganize my comic room. Right now it's in chaos. It's really in chaos and it's bothering me actually. I have to spend like an hour or two and maybe 3, maybe 4 hours. I don't know. It's going to take me a while to organize this because it's just chaos right now. So I couldn't find that book. I couldn't find the fiction one, the fast fiction one. It's driving me nuts. But yeah, sexy girls on the cover, they go for more money. That one really does go for a fair amount, even in low grade. Like mine's low grade, and I had to pay up for it. It's really bothered me actually. It's just a very popular cover. When you have a sexy girl on the cover, it goes for big money. So yeah, K. Munin wrote, earlier this morning, I went to the LCS for New Comic Book Day. While I was there, I found original Japanese manga. Rooney Kenshin. I totally brutalized that one. How often do you find oddities at your LCS? What is the strangest thing your LCS has ever sold? By the way, I did buy the manga. As always, thank you for your answering my questions. LCS, weirdest thing. So really, I can't really think of that many weird things that I found at LCSs. Most of the time, like most of my LCSs are pretty like standard, like in terms of the stuff that they sell. They sell the modern books, sometimes older books. The only thing that I would say is like one of my LCSs did have pretty unique stuff. It like they more specialized in the back issues. So they would have like he liked for example, he had a whole section of sort of adult comics, or also he had a whole section devoted to 60s underground or 70s underground stuff. So there was those books that were kind of cool and some weird stuff, where you'd get like different adult related books, and some of those are pretty weird covers and stories. But yeah, that was about it. Just one of my LCSs was like that. Most of my LCSs are pretty standardized in terms of pretty generic stuff like the modern books. It was just that one that had back issues. So nothing really exciting to report. I feel kind of lame, but nothing really exciting to report there. What else? Matt Likes Comics wrote, do you think there will be even larger market? So do you think there could be an even larger market for titles like Patsy Walker, Millie the Model, and Tessie the Typist? So I think, like, there's always like these phases, I think, that comic hobbies, or yeah, any hobbies go through, where certain things are popular and certain things are not so popular. Like all of those good girl covers, there's like a market there for them, and they're definitely enough of a market so they can go for big money. Um, and there's not many of them available, so that's another reason they go for big money. But they are really great. And I think I'll show you some Tessies just to give you an example of some of the ones I like. So I'm just going to show you Tessie the Typist, as I kind of explain why I think there is probably a market there, where I think it's going to grow as people discover it. It's like one of those things, like I didn't know about it like 5 years ago. So once I discovered it, hey, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I think it's just a matter of discovery. If you like Good Girl, these are pretty awesome. This one's a fun one. She's on the bicycle. He's he's like just sitting there and she's doing all the work. I always like that one. So you got this one. It's like raining cats and dogs. And you got this one at the back here as well. I didn't realize I double bagged this one. That's kind of weird of me. And The Good Girl, I think, has kind of universal appeal. If you look at modern books, a lot of the covers are Good Girl covers. And so I can see people saying, hey, these are actually pretty cool. And, I could see people going back and maybe collecting some of these ones, if they learned about them. But they are fun. Like, I just think that, you look at them, it's fun stuff. I like ones with fish too. So I like fish covers. And I don't like these later ones that much with the border, but he's been told to keep his eye on the ball. But this is my favorite cover from the Tessie run. I just think it's cute how all the fish have these little hearts on them and they're jumping into her net. It's just such a trope. There's a bunch of covers that have this trope, but I always thought Tessie was kind of cute, and this is a really great cover. It's a yellow cover too, which is nice. And then one more roller skating one. There's a lot of these ones where people land on their butt and they're like thud or something. And I can think of some Archie covers like this. But yeah, I think, it's I think there is like a potential for these to catch on, like where people will start really appreciating them. And once more people, even a small number, get interested in like things like Tessie or Millie the Model or Patsy Walker, there's just not enough books out there. Like there really isn't a huge number of books. Like most of the census counts on these are like 20. It's like really low census counts. So it doesn't need to have a big market in order to drive the prices up. If 40 people like them, then that's enough to drive the prices crazy. So yeah. So but I do think that there is the potential for a larger market. Okay. Bagged and Broke wrote, do you think you'll ever acquire a big book as your All-Star 8? If so, what book do you think you have? What book? If so, what book do you have your eyes on at that level? There's a few books that I have gotten that are equivalent to my All-Star 8. I would say my Blonde Phantom. No, Blonde Phantom. What I was going to say. Phantom Lady 17, or my Wonder Woman 1, or even my Amazing Fantasy, are in that sort of similar level to All-Star 8. So I have bought a bunch of kind of big books like that. But in terms of what I'm going for next, probably if I was going to go for some really, really big book, it'd be something like a Batman 1, or I have pretty much all the big books that I want, actually, strangely. yeah. Um, yeah, I can't really think of anything big that I want to go actually. I always joke that I want a Action Comics 1 or something like that. Actually, another big book that I would like to get, and it's not as big as All Star 8, but it is a cool book, would be like something like King Comics 1, or maybe a Flash 1, Flash Comics 1. That would be cool. Um, Definitely, that'd be a book I'd be interested in. And like maybe an All Star 16. Those would be the ones that I'd be probably interested in, might go after at some point. Um, yeah. I always think about other books. Once you think about it more and more, then you realize, oh, maybe I'd go after that. Maybe I'd go after that. There's a few. Um, but I'm broke as well, so I gotta kind of watch myself on some of those big books. So I'll hold off for now. Okay, Pierre Daniel wrote, "You really seem to love the Golden Age, maybe overlapping with Silver Age books. How did you come about, and what is the appeal of these books for you? Uh, do you read Golden Age slash Silver Age books you buy, or are you focused on their covers and their collectability?" Okay, so I do read these. Actually recommended, as I said earlier, Comic Book Plus. What I'll do is generally I'll read like a bunch in a row. I'll just kind of read them all at once. That's why I never remember what number corresponds to what book, because it just gets blurred in my mind. But I do read them, and actually one of the things that I do on Wednesdays, like after this video, like if you go over to the Biggie Shack channel, I'll be doing a book review. So I do like the idea of reading comics, and I do enjoy the stories. I think they're interesting. Yeah, I do try to read as many of them as I can. I wish I had more time to read. I just frankly don't have that much time to read. So whenever I do have time, I'll just binge read a bunch, and that's kind of been my method to get a bit of comic reading. But I do enjoy reading them. Now, what got me into the Golden Age was just the love of history. I like older things generally. Like I was a coin collector, so I always gravitated to antiques or older stuff. And the reason I like Golden Age is like it's like 80 years old. It's old stuff. It's like that time capsule where you can sort of tap into a different era, and really different era in terms of the way people lived and acted back then. And I think it's really interesting. I like tapping into that. So I like the art, as I mentioned earlier. So that's kind of how I got into Golden Age books, and that's why I really love them. I think I got everything. And then last question comes from Miserdom. Alan, how much would brittle pages deter you from buying a graded Golden Age comic grail at a fair price? So I have sort of two minds with brittle pages. I do have a bunch of brittle page comics in my collection. And the thing is, with older books, it kind of goes that way a lot of the time. But I really don't want to find brittle, like I prefer if it's like off white to white, like that kind of level. But brittle pages doesn't deter me. If it's a book that I really, really like, and it says brittle pages, I'll probably still buy it if I can get it for a reasonable price. Often when it says brittle pages, like you can get books that present as a 4 and it has brittle pages, and then they sell it as a 1 because it gets graded that way. It actually just detracts from the grade of the book. So just that that brittle pages, actually you can get a much nicer looking book that has been graded pretty harshly because of the brittle pages, and because it's a lower grade, it's more affordable. often, sometimes where it says brittle pages, like I have a few books, like the book right in front of me. I'm actually looking at this book. Here, I gotta grab it. This one is not fully brittle, but it is slightly brittle. It's really interesting. Yeah, this is, you can see, slightly brittle pages. And I think they misgraded it. I don't see any problem. Like sometimes with brittle pages, you'll actually see like a little bit of dust inside the well, where the books, the book is kind of falling apart. But I think they, sometimes it's like maybe one page or something like very minor. So sometimes like, you have to kind of judge the book. And sometimes, it's it can be a bit of a steal, because I think sometimes if you got it regraded, probably it might even grade out at non-brittle pages. It might be whatever, cream to off-white or something. So a lot of the time, I think there are opportunities with brittle pages. There's actually ways of making the pages stronger. Like I know there's solutions that you can put, obviously you're going to get in trouble maybe with restoration, but there's things that you can do to actually reduce the brittleness of pages. So yeah, I'm I really don't think that brittle pages would deter me for the most part, unless it's really obvious. Like if the book is just literally turning to dust, that might deter me. But it really depends on the level of brittleness. It's like anything. You buy the book and not the grade, or even the page quality in this case. So yeah, that'd be my thought on it. What are your thoughts? How would you answer these questions? Like this is me babbling off the top of my head. And I hope you enjoyed my answers. If you did, please give me a like, and remember to subscribe to the channel, comment your question for next week, and I will answer it. Bye for now.